Pokémon evolution is one of the most compelling ideas in gaming. You start with a weak creature, battle alongside it, and watch it grow into something stronger. But while Pokemon has always been about evolution, to me, it feels like Game Freak forgot to let the games evolve too. For almost 30 years, every new generation has introduced new Pokemon, a new region, and a new gimmick. Yet, underneath all of those additions, the experience has stayed remarkably similar. Every Pokemon game begins almost exactly the same way. You are a 10-year-old kid living in a small town, you meet the region's professor, you choose one of the 3 starter Pokemon, you learn how to catch Pokemon, receive a Pokédex, and leave home to begin your journey. Every new generation gives you a different world to explore. But somehow, the adventure always feels strangely familiar. For instance, the professor exists to give you a Pokédex and a starter. Your rival exists to battle you every few hours. And your character, well, they are almost always the same blank slate, a kid leaving home with the goal of becoming the champion. To be fair, this introduction is iconic. I still remember playing Pokemon Ruby as a kid. Leaving your hometown for the first time, choosing your starter and setting off on your own adventure felt magical. It made the world feel huge. But that is exactly why it worked. After seeing the exact same introduction for almost 30 years, that sense of wonder slowly disappears. And of course, the familiarity doesn't stop there. It carries through the entire game. After picking your starter, the next 10 hours follows almost the exact same formula. You cross a route, battle every trainer, catch the Pokemon available in that area, arrive at a new town, earn the gym badge, then deal with either your rival or the region's villains. Then, you do it all over again, route after route, town after town, gym after gym. And by the end of the game, you already know exactly what is coming. You will defeat the region's villain leader, catch the legendary Pokemon, challenge the Elite Four, and eventually become the champion. The names change, the Pokemon change, the region changes, but the journey and destination never does. Having a formula isn't inherently a bad thing. After all, every great franchise has one. The problem is that after nearly 30 years, Pokemon's formula hasn't really evolved, and over time, that predictability starts to reveal itself in every part of the game. You can feel it almost everywhere. In the battles, in the exploration, and even in the gyms. As a huge JRPG fan, I love turn-based combat, so I'm used to what some people see as an outdated style of gameplay. My issue here is that the main story barely lets the battle system reach its full potential. Believe it or not, competitive Pokemon is incredibly complex. Team building, abilities, held items, predictions, switching, EVs, IVs. There is a reason people still play it today. Unfortunately, the main story barely scratches the surface. Yes, you build a team of 6, but outside of covering different types, the games rarely encourage you to think about your team as a team. Most of the time, you are over-leveled. You steamroll the trainers, the gym leaders, and sometimes even the Elite Four. The game never gives you a reason to engage with its deeper mechanics. Now, it is clear that Game Freak noticed that the battle needed something new. That is why we got Mega Evolution, Z-Moves, Dynamax, and Terastallization. They are fun mechanics. But my problem is that instead of refining these mechanics, Game Freak throw them away the moment the next generation arrives. Imagine, for example, Persona introduced Baton Pass in one game, only to remove it completely in the sequel. That is exactly what Pokemon keeps doing. Every new generation feels like the battle system is starting from scratch, instead of building on what came before it. And nowhere is that wasted potential more obvious than in the gyms. With a few exceptions, like the island trials in Sun and Moon, almost every gym follows the same formula. Solve a small puzzle, beat a few trainers, fight the gym leader, and collect your badge. Honestly, I don't even mind that. What I do mind, however, is that every gym specializes in a single type. Pokemon constantly encourages you to build a team of 6, to catch different Pokemon, to cover different matchups. But when it's finally time to put that team to the test, the game only asks you to use one of them. If the gym is water type, I bring my electric Pokemon. If it's flying type, I bring my electric Pokemon again. If it's ground type, I switch to my water or grass Pokemon. I am not overcoming any strategic challenge, I'm just bringing the correct answer to an exam where I already know the questions. After 30 years, maybe, just maybe it is time for gym leaders to evolve too. Instead of building teams around a single type, why not build them around strategies? A rain team, a trick room team, a doubles focus team, something that actually forces me to understand Pokemon's battle system instead of simply remembering type matchups. But the battles aren't the only thing that lost something along the way. Exploration did too. Every time Game Freak reveals a new region, I get excited. New towns, new routes, new landmarks to discover. Then I actually start playing, and after a few hours, that excitement slowly fades, because beneath the visuals lies the same blueprint I have already experienced countless times. The early forest, the cave, the water routes, and more often than not, a snowy area waiting near the end of the journey. Now, to be fair, every region has its own identity. I will never forget exploring Eterna Forest, for instance, or getting completely lost in Lumious City in Kalos. But after playing enough Pokemon games, you stop wondering what is around the next corner, because you already know. Exploration slowly turns into expectation. So where does Pokemon go from here? Whenever this conversation comes up, I always hear the same comparison. Look at Zelda, look at Mario. These series completely reinvented themselves. Zelda embraced a massive open world, Mario gave us Odyssey. And Pokemon, well, it tried to follow that same path with Scarlet and Violet. Now, if we put aside all the technical performance issues that the game had, this game sounded exactly what every Pokemon fan had been dreaming of. You have a huge world and the freedom to explore wherever you want it. On paper, it sounded perfect. But after spending dozens of hours with Scarlet and Violet, I realized something. The world had evolved in the sense that it got bigger, but the game remained the same. The battle still barely asked me to engage with all the depth the combat system has to offer, gym leaders still relied on monotype teams, the overall genre still followed the same familiar structure I'd been playing for decades, and despite being called an open world game, exploration itself rarely felt rewarding. Most of the time, I was simply riding from one objective to the next. Ironically, I think Game Freak already showed us a more interesting direction with Legend Arceus. You weren't collecting gym badges, you weren't trying to become the champion. Instead, the focus shifted toward researching Pokemon and completing the Pokédex. It wasn't perfect, but it proved something important. Game Freak can still surprise us. That is why I don't think Pokemon's future depends on making the game open world. A bigger map doesn't fix repetitive gyms, it doesn't make battles more strategic, it doesn't make exploration more meaningful, and it certainly doesn't make the journey feel less predictable. If anything, Scarlet and Violet proved that expanding the world isn't enough if the systems inside that world remain almost untouched. And maybe that is where Pokemon's biggest opportunity lies. Instead of working on how to make the next region even bigger, they should instead focus on how to make every battle more engaging, every gym more memorable, every route worth exploring. Because evolution has never been about becoming bigger. It is about becoming better. And that is why I'm cautiously optimistic about Pokemon Wins and Pokemon Waves. From everything we've seen so far, it looks like Game Freak is once again trying to push the series forward. The world looks bigger, more detailed, and there even seems to be new ways to explore it. And honestly, that is exciting. But after Scarlet and Violet, I don't think a bigger world is what Pokemon needs most. Because if the battles still don't encourage strategy, if gym leaders are still nothing more than monotype teams, if the journey still follows the same familiar rhythm we've been playing for nearly 30 years, then we'll be right back where we started. A bigger world, but the same game. I truly hope that is not the case, because Pokemon doesn't have to become another Zelda. It just needs to evolve the parts that have been standing still for decades. After all, if there is one franchise that should understand the importance of evolution, it should be Pokemon. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.